Pope Francis has told Catholics there is no heaven, hell, or purgatory, as he continues his mission to turn his followers away from the traditional Christian teachings. A close personal confidant of Pope Francis, Eugenio Scalfari, wrote in La Repubblica that Pope Francis has abolished the places where souls were supposed to go after death: hell, purgatory, heaven. Pope Francis has also begun taking liberties when it comes to rewriting the words of sacred scripture by adding satanic themes to Bible verses wherever he sees fit. In the morning homily at Santa Marta on September 4, 2014, for example, the Pope wholly altered the meaning of a verse from the Bible, falsely attributing these satanic words to St. Paul: "I boast only of my sins." Pope Francis concluded his homily by inviting the many faithful followers present to boast of their own sins, murder, theft, abuse, adultery, before mocking Jesus Christ, who is said to have naively forgiven them while on the cross. Despite the Pope's claims, no such an expression can be found in any of Paul's letters. Pope Francis, it seems, was teaching a false scripture. Instead, the apostle says of himself, "If it is necessary to boast, I will boast of my weaknesses," 2 Corinthians 11:30, after listing all the hardships of his life: the shipwrecks, the imprisonments, the floggings. Pope Francis was also caught out when he appeared on the radio earlier this year. He attempted to deceive Christians by steering them away from Jesus, telling listeners that Jesus turned into Satan. He went on to suggest that Jesus was debasing himself up to the point of annihilating himself. Pope Francis, real name Jorge Mario Bergoglio, spread the satanic doctrine even further by saying that Jesus made himself the devil, the serpent, for us, according to the daily newspaper of the Vatican, L'Osservatore Romano. Pope Francis' heretical statement came after he turned his back on centuries of traditional Christian teachings earlier this year in Rome, when he told a crowd of 33,000 loyal Catholics that a personal, immediate, or direct relationship with Jesus Christ should be avoided at all costs. Having personal relationships with Jesus is dangerous and very harmful, the Pope said during the speech on June 25. The Pope's satanic statements are merely the latest eyebrow-raising statements made by the Jesuit head of the Vatican. In July of this year, Pope Francis told the Italian newspaper La Repubblica that the USA has a distorted and ignorant vision of the world, and that the citizens of the United States must be ruled by a world government, for their own good, as soon as possible. Shortly before that, he had also called for a single world government and a political authority, arguing that the planet needs to tear down borders and be ruled by one world government to combat major global issues such as climate change. Speaking with Ecuador's El Universo newspaper, the Pope said that the United Nations must be granted total governmental control for the good of humanity because it doesn't have enough power at the moment. The globalization movement can't be underestimated. There is a major transitioning of the world into a global government while erasing the rights of the individual while eroding away our freedoms. The world's religious leaders, who are being led by the progressively anti-Christian Pope, are leading the way in this great deception. Globalist billionaire David Rockefeller once famously predicted that a global crisis would need to occur before citizens of the world would be willing to accept the New World Order. When the world economy suffered a dramatic crash in 2008, world leaders again proclaimed that the time had come to usher in a new world order with full global financial control. As Pope Francis demonstrates, the global warming hoax and climate change are now the global elite's preferred weapon of choice, to be used as a tool for scaremongering at will. All of this is designed to shepherd the human race closer to full, unified, totalitarian enslavement. Pope Francis has a defined goal to steer his followers away from Jesus Christ. The Christian leader who warned his flock not to enter into a personal relationship with Jesus, and held Islamic prayers in the Vatican, is ravenous wolf poorly disguised as a pure white sheep. The Jesuit Pope is a servant of the global cabal, and a leading proponent in the plot to promote the New World Order agenda, all while misleading his flock. Read more at www.nettle.com web link.